Now this is a new skill that only he has, right? Picture of his Panther. Okay, so what this activation rate of this is rumored to be around 12%. Okay, 12% to reduce physical attack damage to 0. Alright, and next we have quick play. Right, quick play is actually pretty decent, you know, a small buff to him. Battle start plus 5 SCT means he can start casting his spells quicker. Movement speed, I always like movement speed on my units, right? It makes them more mobile. And okay, so next we have illness research and stun research. Okay, this is the two interesting things. The only unit that has stun research prior to V is actually Fell. I mean, I think fell off the charts, you know. Nobody actually remembers it, I think. So it is not teachable from any art. So it's very, very valuable. And stun itself is very crucial in a lot of fights. However, if you're going to put it on just auto attacks, it's not really that consistent. You can't really say for sure that you're going to stun a lot of the opponent, because it really procs off at 3%, right? So but it's really, really nice, like in PvP or PvE wise, I mean PvP especially, right? You can stun the opponent. And illness research, like these two are actually pretty important in arena, right? If an opponent can't heal, their healers will be healing, you know, a void. You know, it won't do anything to their units. So these two is actually pretty crucial, pretty important. And having this in his auto attack would mean that it really buffs the value of his auto attacks. Having to be able to inflict such powerful status ailments to the enemy. And of course, fast Anula Melf will make that happen, even if they have nail in their as their resistance. So yeah, very good auto attack skills there. And don't forget, this tool is gonna cost a lot of SC if they are not free. Like illness research is already 10 SC, so it's really expensive. So another thing that is important to take note is Terror Melf. So you can see he does more damage to enemies with status ailments on them. So basically his gameplay is gonna be inflicting of status effects and, you know, dealing damage to them if they have status ailments, more damage to them. And of course Macleon, you know, being further from the enemy increases his damage. But of course that is a good bonus together with piercing, right, with Death God. Now, last but not least, I'm going to be talking about Paranoia, right? This is the only skill that previously only Logia has it. And if you remember how OP Logia was at that time, right? But then again, he wasn't able to really create that status inflicting meta, although he was close. But I think that V is you know, a cut above him in terms of that. Right, so Paranoia, when he inflicts a status ailment, he gets 5 SCT for all his skills. That is very big because of how his auto attacks pierce and how quick he can cast his auto attacks, and he can dual wield, and he has his paid weapon, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later on. But then again, Paranoia, right? If your fight has a lot of enemies, right, it means that he can have a lot of targets to gain that SCT. So do take note that longer fights or fights that have a lot of units would be advantageous to him, because it sort of scales off having more units to inflict statuses on. Alright, so moving on. Alright guys, so I'm going to give a summary for V. Okay, so first up, that he has additional SCT recovery. So that would mean, I'm going to put it on the screen. This is going to be his sort of SCT recovery speed. So it's going to be 10 SCT and 18 for S2 and 26 for S3. That is really nice. It's still a little bit higher than usual units, but then don't forget he has Paranoia. So that would definitely reduce his his sort of getting his skills up will be much quicker if you inflict more status on enemies. Okay, so next we have the total damage cap of 3000. This is not that high, but well, good to have. Really good to have. Right, next we have a total damage cap of 3000. And after that, total damage increase on enemies with status effects, okay, with status ailments. So it's going to be 1.2 and also 30% and 20% from Terra Melf. So all in all, it's going to be a 1.872 times of his normal damage. That's pretty decent. And of course, if you're gonna build your team around having status ailments effects, you're gonna put on Terramel 1 and 2 on your other units. They are gonna be getting a 1.56 times on their damage. So it really unlocks this new way of actually building a team around building a strategy with your team. Okay, so next, fast Annular Melf, right? So this is actually, you know, if you really look at it, the only part that really makes it useful is actually PvP, okay? Because if you're gonna play a normal game, it's gonna PvE is just whether or not you're just saving the time of casting the Annular Melf. So it's much different from PvP, whereby you start off with 5 MP, right? So that I feel particularly is meant for PvP, and to fully maximize the usage of it is in that area. And of course works with int and str, but mainly int is preferred for V. And he is, okay, the strongest status inflictor in the game right now. Alright, let's move on to the weaknesses of him. So the first weakness is that he has no strength, int, or crit, you know, same as Dante, no crit. So, you know, it leaves the question of whether you don't want crit on him, or rather whether he can survive with no sort of actual lifesteal other than blood force. So he has blood force, but is that even enough? But here's the question, right? If you're gonna put crit, and you're gonna put crit ups and crit damage increase, you know, you're gonna have to see if his normal hits are already hitting damage cap. Because if his normal damage are already hitting damage cap, you are wasting your damage on crit. So if, let's say, he is already hitting damage cap, and then you put on crit just for lifesteal, I don't think that is actually effective in terms of SC usage. So you're gonna want to be taking note of that. Next is SCT recovery. You know, he gets lesser with less enemies in the field, because he uses a lot of Paranoia to get quick skills up. So if you have lesser enemies, it would potentially slow down his SCT recovery in some sense. And last but not least, low max stocks of skill. So he has 3 stocks for each, right? S1, S2, and S3. So and of course he also has long skill animations. So this might potentially affect his burst potential, right? Even if you have all the stocks max and you want to spam it all and kill the enemy off, right? But it's going to be affected by his long skill animation delay. Alright, so V seems like a very straightforward character, right? However, there are still many ways to build him. And, you know, pure DPS crit builds with damage, you know, like that's one way. Remove some damage for some researchers, that could be another way. Or even, you know, going on a full auto status inflictor. You know, building a team around him that works with status infliction, you know, seems plausible now, doesn't it? Okay, so let me know in the comment section down below, you know, how would you build your V? And of course, like and subscribe to the video if you found it useful for more Last Cloudia videos. Now, let's see V rolling. We hating, patrolling, we trying to catch me riding dirty.